Vegans also go take extreme measures.
What's your perception of vegans?
They've lost humanity or what?
If you are vegan, be vegan.
So I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Have you heard of vegans?
Yes,
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I have.
And what do you know about vegans?
they eat pure vegetarian and no dairy products,
Okay.
and just that.
They don't eat, like, obviously they have a pure vegetarian diet, and apart from that they don't also consume dairy product.
They are vegetarians plus an additional. They don't eat anything that animals produce.
Yeah, that's
basically.
true, that's true, that's
So
true.
that's either made up of animals or produced by animals.
Why do you think they eat pure vegetarian and no dairy products?
So I think they are trying to protect animals and
Yeah.
all those dairy products, so no animal get harmed.
Yeah.
So they eat purely green leaves and
Purely green leaves.
full vegetarian.
So let's say if someone is consuming a burger which is vegetarian without cheese, that would be vegan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard about vegan sandwiches.
Yeah, vegan sandwich. And what's your perception of vegans?
I mean, I don't know technically if what it does to health,
Okay.
but I feel like if somebody believes in it, then just live and let live. I mean, great.
Okay.
If that's what I am vegetarian myself, so
Because obviously it harms the animal so much. Me being a Jain, I know this because every animal goes through a lot, and since nowadays humans have become even more I don't know, like they've lost humanity or what.
You think animals should be protected, but when we are non-vegetarians, we are consuming the animals who is killed for our food. So we are not only not protecting them, but actively harming them.
But animals are also constantly growing in number also.
Yeah.
They
So it's
also
like a
reproduce.
population control mechanism. That's a good point. The only problem with that point is that the animals that we humans eat, we only breed them into existence. You said that if it is helping them with their health aspect, right?
whatever it is, health, or even if it is about something they believe in deeply,
Like?
maybe their point of view is that something that comes out of animals is probably harmful to animals.
Yeah.
So that's probably their point of view. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what they believe in. That
So I think turning vegan is just to save the environment and help these animals.
if you are vegan, be vegan.
Okay.
I have a problem if you are imposing that thought on everybody, and if you think that everybody should be vegan.
Okay.
Right? So I don't have an opinion on if that is the right school of thought or not. I would just say that if you believe in it, then go for it. I mean,
Okay.
that's it. Yeah.
Okay. An easy way to think about it: replace yourself with the animals the way they are being treated, and then think and answer.
But we don't eat. No.
Sorry.
We can't put ourselves in their place, and
We'll not be eaten, but think about it in this way: that someone traps us and abuses us, and we have lost control over our body autonomy and stuff like that.
yeah, that is bad. Yeah.
So then, do you think vegans are right in protecting these animals?
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes vegans also go take extreme measures.
Like?
They'll protest. They'll force others to don't eat non-veg or leave dairy products. Every person has their own personal right, their own choice. So I think it's properly right.
Use the term impose, right?
Yeah.
And that's a very strong word. And
Correct.
of course, we should not impose anything on anyone,
Yeah.
right? We should be inclusive of everyone's thought
Absolutely.
and existence, right? So I'll use the same term impose and ask you this question, and would like you to think about it.
Yeah.
That when we consume animal flesh, are we imposing our choice on the animal?
I mean, that would be true for plants as well, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when we're consuming, say, palak, aren't we imposing our choice on the palak plant?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that the same argument applies everywhere. So I
Yeah.
think it's that lot of things are not in your control. I mean, it's just the way the world functions.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to eat something, and
It's like we are
it's-
consuming something to survive.
yes, and those animals are also consuming some other animal to survive.
yeah.
So I think it's just an ecosystem, and it's just the way that the world
Unfortunate
functions.
life of cruelty.
Yes. So, but yeah, I mean, again, it's not as simple as I'm making it sound,
Yeah.
because for money, there's a lot of cruelty that does happen
Yeah.
to the animals,
Yeah.
which is definitely not right. But I'm not very sure of what is the alternative. Of course, like, find the best ways to do it. But if you like animals, then go ahead, eat them.
Yeah,
If you like plants, go ahead, eat them. My school of thought is very simple: just don't mess with what I want to do.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want to do. Yeah.
And the basis for that is because what you said,
Yeah.
that even we are consuming plants,
Yeah.
so it's like one life form, either this or the animal. So it's not going to make much of a difference is the point, right? Whether I kill a hen or eat a palak.
I don't know. I mean, it's like the small difference in this is that when it comes to animals, I think there's a lot of, there is animal cruelty in the way the animals are stored, in the way they are executed, etc. So I'm sure there are lawful guidelines to how they should be done, and but there are people who are not following it, which is a problem.
Okay.
But if the same thing is happening with plants as well, then it's a problem there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that is happening. In my mind, it's not happening. Like in my mind, it's simpler when it comes to plants.
So essentially you are saying the way in which an animal or a plant is raised, that is something which should be looked at, but otherwise the consequence of consuming a plant or an animal is more or less the same if they are raised in a right way.
Consequence on what?
Consequence on the animal or the plant.
Possibly. I mean, in case of animals, you feel it more because you see what they feel, right? Like they react.
Yeah.
But plants do not. So, I mean, technically, I'm not aware about what plants really feel from inside.
I'll give you knowledge on that.
Yeah.
So essentially why people make this argument is because plants also have lives, which is true, and animals also have lives.
Yeah.
But plants are not sentient beings. And what is sentience? Sentience in very simple awareness,
Yeah.
consciousness, awareness that I exist and in this world and I can perceive this world. Least result of sentience is interest in not being subjected to pain and suffering. Intuitively speaking, like just to give an example of what sentience is, if you pick up a stone and try running after a dog, the dog will sense that and run away, right? But at the same time, if let's say the dog has a pet parent and the parent at home is picking up something, the dog will not run away. To be able to understand your existence vis-a-vis the world.
Yeah.
So there's a fundamental difference between a plant and animal, and I think intuitively also we know this, and that is what you were referring to earlier, right? That we can feel the emotion of the animal versus that of a plant, right? Like a mother at home will not encourage their child to go to a poultry shop to see the hen being slit, but she would not have a problem cutting cucumbers and onions, right? So intuitively we know, and that is the difference.
Right, got it.
So now, once we know that this is the difference, that the animal doesn't want to be subjected to pain and suffering, and yet as a human, if I am choosing to inflict pain and suffering on them, then coming back to what the term you used earlier, aren't we imposing our superiority on them?
Possibly, but aren't we doing that on a lot of things as humans? Like we're doing it on the environment, we're doing it. So I think it's just the way that the society functions. Okay, and there will be something that's wrong that's happening all the time.
Exactly.
But I feel like, at this point, asking everybody to, asking the entire world to stop eating animals is also very impractical. I mean, I feel like people have their diets. People have what suits them,
That's
right?
preferences.
It's not just preferences. It's also biologically whatever suits you, right? Like because I'm vegetarian, I know that if I start eating meat tomorrow, I'll not be able to digest it in the best way. Similarly, I think for non-vegetarians, if you ask them to start eating plants from tomorrow, I feel like it's a change in diet for their body. So I feel like asking everybody to go back on, to start eating only vegetarian food and not eat non-vegetarian food, I feel it's very impractical and it's also too much of a change to make.
Personal choice should not have victims. In the sense, let's say, you will never say that it's your personal choice to go and hit a human or slap a human because there's a victim involved. So when we are saying that it's our personal choice to consume these animals, we are technically not seeing these animals as victims despite the fact that they are trapped, killed. So what do you have to say about that?
I mean, not all of them are trapped and killed.
At
Few
the
of
very
them-
least, they are killed.
Some of them are, it's true, they are killed. And some of them are left to breed.
But they are
So-
killed, right? For example, the hen has to be killed for us to be eaten.
Yeah, it's true.
So then do you think it's a personal choice?
I mean, still companies are making profit out of it.
Yeah, of course. But
MNCs
as an
are-
individual, do you think it's a personal choice?
Yeah, I still think it's a personal choice
Like,
for a person. You can't force them to stop eating non-veg and veg. It still completely depends on their diet. Some people need protein,
protein, even vegans will get
Yeah.
protein. Yeah.
but some people prefer non-veg.
Essentially, to say that it's a personal choice, eventually we'll have to erase their status as a victim.
Yeah, you're right. So, can say that they are victim. That's also.
I mean, if
One
you ask
side
them, if you ask a hen, they will definitely say that they are a victim to
Yeah.
our choices. If we have recognized that something is an injustice to these animals, then should we not take active step from our side to stop it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of people doing it already, and yeah, it's definitely happening. But I still think that it's there also are those sets of people who who do not really care about it that much. And who do not even want to. For them, life is very simple. That ठीक है, आज मुझे अच्छा खाना मिला, मैं खा लूँगा. ठीक है, they're not really thinking so much.
And that is a privilege, right? That
Absolutely,
since
yes,
you
yes.
are the oppressor, and you don't care about your actions because you don't care about the oppressor.
That's true in most cases. Okay, you're using an AC, you're causing harm to the environment. You're doing a lot of things. It's just the disbalance, the sad disbalance that's there in the world, right? So I feel like there always will be those set of people who you will not be able to convince.
Even today, like there are people who are human predators who think in their head that it is right to abuse humans as well, and we have the law to take care of them, right? And law, that's why they say, is the lowest form of ethics.
Correct.
Like the person who has zero moral sense, for them we have the law to take care of them, right? Because there are legal repercussions. What's going on in your mind right now?
Currently, I'm thinking that animals eventually they'll die.
Eventually humans will also die.
You have a very short lifespan, so eat whatever you want, whatever choice you have.
But don't you think that's a dangerous rationale? For example, there are human predators who attack other human beings in different ways, right? Whether they'll kill them or whatever. So even if they start using the same rationality, it's a very short life.
There should be a boundary to it.
And where is exactly and
Yeah.
that is the question, on what basis do we draw this boundary? Another thing that you said, that when we are using an AC or driving a car, of course we are causing problem to the environment and to each other and to other beings as well. And that is true, and of course we should think about going towards minimalism. But when we are consuming these animals, right, then we are doing what we say is a direct rights violation. In the sense that there's an individual and I'm an individual, I'm going to that individual and abusing that individual. While there are a lot of problems in the society, agreed. But when I'm going and consuming a hen or paying someone else to kill the hen so that I can consume, then in that equation, I'm directly participating in their rights violation.
Indirectly or directly, even in the environment example, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You are in a way violating rights of some future generation.
of course.
You just can't see it right away. So, like, my whole point is, while I agree with that there is animal cruelty and a lot of things maybe they need to change. My point is that it's just there is a societal disbalance which is very sad. Humans do misuse their power, which can be minimized at max, but it's never going to go away. Like, it's just a very practical,
That is perfectly true actually. At a societal level, it will never be eradicated in the same way like how human rights violation has never been eradicated. But ideologically speaking, individuals should be against rights violation of humans, and that's what I'm talking about, that ideologically speaking, we should be against rights violation of animals.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's again a personal belief as well. When I'm talking about human rights, it's also my right. So it's more natural that I'll care about my rights. But I'm while animal rights are a thing, and I totally agree that everybody's rights should be protected. Again, I'm coming to the practical implications that more people will care about human rights any day because it's about them, and lesser people will care about animal rights because it's about somebody else.
Okay, and that is a fair point actually. There are two things to it. One, you said that as a human, you care about you as a human, but at the same time, you don't care about all the humans, right? You don't know them, but you would still not want those humans to be abused, right?
Yeah, but it's still closer to you.
And now, when we talk about closer, what is this closeness? This is essentially what you are referring to is as the area of moral concern. That humans should be within the area of moral concern because they are closer to us, is what you are saying. My counterpoint to this is that it's a very dangerous argument. There can be a sexist who can make a similar argument, or there can be a racist who can make a similar argument, that since these folks are closer to me in my physical and biological appearance, hence the area of moral concern should be limited to them. And this is not a very far-fetched example, like racism is a real thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are people who think like that. I am 100% sure.
So my point is that should we not expand the scope of our moral concern to the point, at the very least, to the point where the interest of the being is there in not being subjected to pain and suffering. and that will include all humans and most animals as well.
Yeah, I think the question is how far can you stretch it? I mean, like today you're talking about animals. Maybe there are like multiple other, like the stones and rocks and plants. Everybody can come into it,
No, but
right?
they can't, right? Because they're not
You're talking
sentient
about the
beings.
sentience
Sentient beings.
part. Animals, the only sentient beings except humans.
Most animals are sentient beings. Yeah.
So then, are you saying that only the sentient animals shouldn't be subjected to cruelty and the non-sentient ones can?
I mean, technically it would not count as cruelty. For example, you talked about stone. If I start hitting the stone, it will not count as cruelty.
I'm talking about the non-sentient animals.
And on non-sentient animals, that for me personally, it's a grey area. For example, mollusks, like their sentience is not proven till date. I would err on the side of caution and not cause them harm, because probably tomorrow, 10 years down the line, there's a research which comes out and says that they are sentient beings. So I don't want to get into that because my life is good consuming plants. That's one point. But then someone can extend my point further and say, hey Shivam, 10 years down the line, even
Can be a research about
plants can be sentient beings. That argument can be made, but what people don't know is that even the animals that we breed and consume, they are also fed plants.
Yeah.
So when we consume plants versus when we consume animals, less plants are consumed on a plant-based diet. In fact, close to 70% of the...
I didn't get this. How is this math working?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So for example, hens, let's take the example of hen.
Yeah.
They are killed at the tender age of 8 weeks, and that serve as 1 or 1.5 or at max 2 meals for someone, right? What is that hen being fed to reach that weight for that 8 weeks? Predominantly, they are fed soy-based food, right?
Basically, a lot of plants.
This next fact can actually blow your mind. If you would like to take a guess, how many animals do you think humans kill every year for food consumption?
I don't know. Maybe like 20 million? Much more than that. I mean.
8 billion humans, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
how many? Take a guess.
Yeah. So I think just tell me, is it more than 8 billion or less than 8 billion?
More than 8 billion.
It is more than 8 billion. Okay, let's.
Way more than 20
Okay.
billion.
Oh, yeah, of course. If it's more than 8 billion, then yeah. But is it like is it 100 billion?
In a single year, we are killing 80 billion land animals, and if we also factor in the marine animals, then the conservative count is somewhere around 1.5 to 2 trillion. Do you think that it's our moral obligation to stay away from these practices and
100%.
this form of rights violation and cruelty?
100%.
And now you know why a person goes vegan.
Correct. 100% true. Yeah, I think it's one of the best practices people are following, people who have turned vegan. And after having this conversation with you, I think I will also try my best to avoid dairy products. I'll try my best to go vegan at least for a while and put it into my practice. And then because I think overnight turning into a vegan overnight is not possible, but I think taking baby steps can lead to good things.
My humblest request to you is that let this not be the last thought on this subject. Do think about it more. If you think about your inconveniences, then the baby steps will last for eternity. But if you think from the victim's perspective, what's going on in your head right now?
No, I mean, like, I did learn a lot of new things. I mean, of course, like, maybe I'll think, I'm vegetarian, I cannot become vegan overnight, but I've definitely got things to think about.
So you said you've learned a lot. My only request to you is to spend some more time. I'll name some documentaries which is going to talk about the Indian dairy industry. And if I have to take a guess based on this conversation, and if I have to make a judgment call about you, I think that you might have a difficult time consuming dairy products. Once whatever I said, like, it's just information, but once you see that documentary and you visit dairy farms. So as an animal rights activist, in the past 3 years, I visited over 60 dairy farms to talk to dairy farmers and see the whole process of artificial insemination and everything, right? So for me, it's like, it's very scary. So hope you are doing fine. This was a decent conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a great time. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and I genuinely hope that you think about this and learn more from your end.